Faces and Heels Podcast. One handsome devil. Your host, Jack Purcell. Scissor me, daddy ass. Louis Perry, your co-host. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell. Faces and Heels Podcast.
Don't miss superhero legend Lou Ferrigno and more at Altered Reality Entertainment's newest pop culture convention, Contropolis, Massachusetts. Coming to the Royal Plaza Trade Center in Marlboro, June 16th to the 18th, 2023. Meet stars from stage and screen, wrestling ring, and comic book page. Hear their amazing stories, get autographs and photos, and shop from top vendors. Don't miss the epic cosplay contest. Download the Altered Reality Entertainment app for exciting updates. Presented by Cardi's Furniture and Mattresses. Visit ContropolisMA.com for tickets. Save $5 with code SOCIAL5.
Come Matthew Jamesia, as we are going to have a whale of a good time with our guest, Matthew James.
Hey, I made it.
Hey, he is back. Welcome. I'm surprised you came back after the way Jack treated you last time. I mean,
I was running around sharing all my stuff on socials, so I wouldn't be. Last time I was down looking at my phone the first 5 minutes, so I got it all out of the way. Now you have my undivided attention, boys.
Yeah.
What's going on, Eric Hunting is in the house. What's going on? I want to thank I want to thank Contropolis, Massachusetts for providing a little bit of sponsorship this week and supporting the Faces and Heels podcast. Make sure you stop there this weekend, wrestling fans. You got the Honky Tonk Man, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time by 1 day, because he held it 1 day longer than Macho Man Randy Savage. You're going to have Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner. You're going to have the Godfather himself is going to be there. Papa Shango's booked somewhere else, and so is Kama, but the Godfather's going to be there. And the one and the only Jake the Snake Roberts will also be there. Now, the Honky Tonk Man is a good friend of mine, so make sure you go to his table. Say, hey, Lewis and Jamie from the Angry Geeks. Say hi. Get a picture with him. Everything. He has yet to meet Emily. That's why Emily's name wasn't out there. I'm not forgetting her. But just make sure you go there. You go see Jake the Snake Roberts and say, hey, you met Jack Purcell from Faces and Heels podcast, and here's a print. See, you could have bought Jack's print. Had Jake signed it, you would have been 2 for 1. Look at that. But no, you didn't do that, but you still have time. So contact Jack and get that print. Go to Contropolis, Massachusetts this weekend, and let's not forget Angry Geek Show live Friday night. Yeah. Let's get back to our guest. Jack, go ahead. What are you waiting for? Let's go. Go.
Well, William Thompson's starting a chant here. I don't want to ignore that. Matthew James is awesome. Matthew James is awesome.
Hey, Ref Bill.
Matthew James is awesome.
I'm drinking.
Yes, Ref Bill's in the house.
You're ruining my chant.
All right, Jack, enough.
My chant. Come on. What's going on?
And
Can you just email me the rest of this story?
yeah, okay.
Ref Bill's great. Not to get off on too much of a tangent, but Ref Bill was, and I hate to say Mark, you know what I mean, but he was just a fan that came and slowly got trained and slowly started doing this. And now and you ask around, I can't think of, whenever I'm talking to wrestlers, they always have something nice to say about Ref Bill. He looks good on Wrestling Open, and everyone is really energized, or relaxed rather, when Ref Bill is in there with them. They know it's going to be an easy time, not telling anyone to get the F out of their way. So Ref Bill, from humble beginnings, Ref Bill.
Yeah, Ref Bill is a great friend of both Angry Geeks and Faces and Heels podcast, and I'm proud to call him friend. Definitely.
I'm proud of the work you've done.
Yeah. No, Jay Kennedy. No. Not at all. we will not talk about The Rock, and we will not talk about the Fast and the Furious.
No Fast and
And
Furious talk.
and Ref Bill sends us hearts, and
One for each of us. That was so nice.
right back to
3
you,
for
brother.
me.
I mean, for sure, we'll send you
Are we
some
sending
hearts
back?
as well.
Do we have a
Yes,
heart?
we will. How about
Whoa.
that? That is for you. How about that?
Christopher Silvestri says Matthew James is the ultimate legend.
Oh man, Chris Silvestri,
Oh.
owner of Legends in Granby, Massachusetts, a very quaint little comic book shop that I had the pleasure of stopping by. They got a lot of Funko Pops, and I bought some VHS,
Actually,
not these
yeah,
ones, but I bought some old school VHSs off of them.
it's so funny. I know the store that you're talking about. It's right next to Kev's Red Barn, and I went in there and I bought some comics once, and he showed me he had I did. He had some comic books in there,
Okay.
and he actually pulled out a comic book. Oh, I got a real expensive comic book, and he pulled out a Neil Adams first reappearance of the Joker, and it was the book. It just tore my heart up because the book was through hell, and
Oh,
I felt so bad telling him, like, dude, it's not. It's no, you're not going to get that much. I felt so bad doing my job. I did. I felt so bad doing my job. The angry geek, doing the angry geeks and grading books. I was like, oh man. I felt bad. I was like, here, take some money for. I felt bad because the book it's such a great book, such a beautiful book, and I just felt so bad just looking at it because me seeing a comic book and it's look at that. Yes, I will be there again for sure, brother. Seeing a book of that caliber, especially drawn by Neil Adams, I just it breaks my heart to see any comic book like bad. I just want to take it home and nurture it and get it back.
it's
But this one, it was
fair,
like,
right? Yeah.
yeah, he took it out because I got this, and I started to weep. My son was with me. He's like, oh my god. I was like, I'm sorry, dude. We got to bury this. Yes, and Christopher. Yeah, nice to meet you, brother. Once again, I will be back to see you. Definitely. All right, Jack. We got wrestling to talk about. I talked about comic books last night. But Captain Jack, Smitty, and Jamie and Emily. Tonight's wrestling. We got Matthew James here. I'm getting psyched for Contropolis, Massachusetts, because I'm gonna be hanging out, kissing elbows and shaking hands and doing all the stuff that I do. But I'm no, enough about me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. Here's what I think you
And
should do. Is to
the
make
boss is
sure
watching.
you
We gotta
talk
be quiet.
to your buddy, the Honky Tonk Man, and get him on this show.
I will. I'll have Jamie ask him because the boss she's watching right now, and Jamie says no Fast and the Furious. Jay, I'll have Jamie ask him. How about that? Because we're gonna do a crossover. We're gonna have the girls on with you, so I'll have Jamie ask.
Okay.
All right, we'll
Okay.
have Jamie ask on behalf of you to be on this
Okay.
show with you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I like your game plan. Fort Mason
right.
says shaking babies. And Fort Mason also brought up a good point that we should acknowledge. R.I.P.
Oh, yes.
Iron Sheik.
Cheeky baby.
What?
Yeah, Bubba.
Jack would like. Jamie says, "What am I asking?" Jack would like Honky Tonk to be on Faces of Heels since he's been with us, Jamie, twice. Jack would like him to see if he can be on Faces and Heels, and keeps bugging me. We got the NDA. I can't give out people's phone numbers or addresses, even though it's Jack. I can't. So, yeah.
Did Raw do a tribute to Sheiky Baby? Did they put anything up? I know they did on the websites, but did they show anything?
I'll let Jack read that from Jamie Dolan.
Jamie says, "Ooh, I'll get him on with you." Yeah, Jamie. Go, Jamie.
I don't know. I was on. I was live with the Angry Geeks last night with
gotcha.
Emily and Jamie. So I couldn't. I did not catch up with Raw, and I was cooking dinner for my beautiful wife Roseanne tonight, so I could not watch it.
Eric Hunting says PvP on Father's Day in East Hampton, Mass. Right? All right.
Big Daddy Energy coming up this Sunday. You could never, in your wildest dreams, get away with running a wrestling show on Mother's Day. But Father's Day is not a real holiday like Mother's Day. So come one, come all.
Right.
Bring your. Could you imagine how dog shit a wrestling show on Mother's Day would go?
Oh my God, I know.
Nobody would show up. But Father's Day, it's bring your dad or don't, or go see your dad. All New England dads love scratch tickets. Bring your dad as scratch tickets and then come see wrestling, or bring your dad to wrestling.
It all sounds good, man. Right in E-Town, Mass.
Yep, East Hampton, right there at the Pulaski Hall. That's going down this Sunday. Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling, owned and operated by good old Matthew James, and we were doing Big Daddy Energy this Sunday.
A little fun fact: I used to live right down the road off Ferry Street, so it used to be a really short walk. Now it's a little bit of a 10-minute drive, but I plan on spending some of my Father's Day with you. Christopher Silvestri says, "Fun fact: I'm closing my store early to be at the PvP Sunday. LOL. I have an excuse. It's Father's Day."
That's right, Chris. Do whatever you want that day. Bring your kids to wrestling, and tickets are going well. We do really well in that building. There's another company that does well in that building too, and we've been kind of building the area back up. And,
well, do you want to give the other company a shout out? Do you have any?
No, I like Grind Pro. I like Grind Pro.
We all know Grind. We all know Rip. We all know Delmy.
I love what they've done with that building. So, and I think they're the only company around where, okay, this is going to sound bad because wrestling's for everybody, but there are some shit indies out there, and they run every month and they're really bad. And you can tell how bad they are by looking at the front two rows and if there's people in them or not. Grind Pro is the only company, and this is going to sound like a backwards compliment, but they're not booking for the house. They're booking for the IWTV, and it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. They draw a good crowd there. We draw a little better, but they've got all that room. It's all friendly. They've got all that room, but they put the guardrails up, that beautiful entrance. What Ripper has done with that building is absolutely beautiful. And I think they're the only wrestling that you can look to around where what they're drawing is not comparable or is not any indication of how great the wrestling or the show is on there. Everyone else, I don't want to name anyone by names, but if the only two people in the front row are Don Kincaid and Fogman, you're at a dog shit wrestling show. Much love to Don Kincaid and Fogman also.
Right,
there's a place for bad wrestling. It's just not in East Hampton, Massachusetts.
It's not in East Hampton, Mass. You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
So listen, because I mean, I know a lot of great wrestlers who were on this card, but I'm wondering, would you mind plugging some of the matches? Because I think we got Brick City Boys, who are one of my favorite tag teams on this card, right?
Absolutely. So I was not prepared to plug my own show. So I would have to, don't cut to me full screen. I'm going to have to go to my phone and pull up the,
come on.
I have to go up. Oh man, they're going to be so mad.
Lewis, let me show some pro wrestling grind cards while Matthew is
sure
looking.
We can do that.
Oh man, we've also got don't take me off for a minute.
Delmy Exo. You see the Delmy Exo, you see that? And then Thick Daddy, Andy Brown. And then we got the Rabbit Honey Badger, Ryan Mooney. And look, all the cards have got the Pro Wrestling Grind green. See,
and they also have the Faces and Heels logo right on the bottom.
That's right. And you know what? Let me tell you a little something, a little preview of what's about to come out. We got our friends and sponsor Blood, Sweat, and Tears Pro Wrestling July 1st. Perfect segue. I'm working on 3 cards for them. And let me tell you something, main event are really hard to draw. I'm just saying. So I'm working on main event right now.
They're friends of the show. I mean, they are definitely friends of the show. I'm looking forward for them to show back up on AEW. I mean, those cats are unbelievable in the ring. For a tag team wrestling is not what it was when I was a kid. It's much more fast paced now. I am digging it. I mean, it's just the New England tag team scene is incredible.
It is indeed. So I want to represent the tag team. So main event, Bobby Orlando. I just finished drawing it. Bobby Jr.'s in it. It's actually really fun, and everybody likes it so far, including Bobby and Bobby Jr. Bobby Jr. gave me the paw up. And then I got Bobby Buffet I'm working on, who's going to be right here on the Faces and Heels podcast on a special Wednesday episode, June 28th.
There you go, June 28th. Donna says, "Awesome, Matt." How
Hey,
about
thanks,
that?
Donna. All right, so
Uh,
we got the Midnight Mullets versus the Brick City Boys. The Midnight Mullets are, of course, Love Doug and 50 Cal, and we were very excited to put that tag team together a couple months ago. Love Doug, I believe, got injured, so we debuted the new Midnight Bullets, which was Aaron Morrison and 50 Cal, which is like really funny because the Midnight Bullets never got a chance to perform, but we came out with the new Midnight Bullets and they've actually had more matches than the Midnight Bullets. So they are going to be facing the Brick City Boys this Saturday. Also, Big Juicy defends her PvP Women's Championship against Evie De La Rosa. Big Juicy has been dominant in PvP, and we're excited about that. And the big one, folks, AJ Cruz has decided to cash in his Sure Shot Championship opportunity. It will be a triple threat match. Scotty Wild, the champion, versus AJ Cruz and Hammer Tunis. So Big Daddy Energy is going to have some Big Daddy energy this Sunday at the Pulaski Hall in East Hampton, Massachusetts. The bar will be open. I'm not sure if the restaurant's open. They haven't had the kitchen open in a while, so bring your own food because I'm not selling pizza again. That did not go well for me. I broke even and sold like 4 pizzas, and all I did was break even on it, so I'm not doing that again.
So I had a question for you. I don't know the entire card, but I really like everything you just said. Is there another tag team match?
There might be, Jack.
Does it involve like a tag team that has the name Miracle in there?
I'm going to be in a lot of, I'm not sure if we have Miracle Generation this one, do we? I'm
I don't know. Maybe I'm transposing that.
We got Zachary Pierre Value. I know that the closers at Fenway, they actually defended the tag team championship against the Miracle Gen successfully. And then the next day, or later that day at the beach, they were unsuccessful in capturing the IWTV tag team championship. So the closers did a double shot with the Miracle Gen on Sunday, one at Fenway Park and one at a beach. And I've never been to either of those shows, but
maybe that's what I was thinking. Good. Yeah, because I remember they were wrestling twice in the same day for different titles. So sorry, but
a good way to find out would be to come see us East Hampton on Sunday. Big Daddy Energy. I wanted to call it. What did I want to call it? Who's Your Daddy? But somebody else was running that day, a couple states away, and they had already used the name Who's Your Daddy, and I was like, who cares? But we ended up with Big Daddy Energy, which is good. So come see us on Father's Day. Come drink.
What's bell time on Father's Day?
I believe it's 4 p.m. It's a here I go again, looking at my poster. Bell time is not on that one. 4 p.m. Doors at 3:30. But the thing about East Hampton is it says doors at 3:30, and everyone always lines out front, but the bar is open. Go downstairs and drink in the air-conditioned bar, and then stagger upstairs when it's time to come enjoy the wrestling.
All right. Fort says boom, and then he says never shake a baby, by the way. And then Christopher Jack, what does Christopher say?
When will Tony Khan's next quote-unquote big announcement gonna be?
So Christopher is actually in an old Patreon group that we had that we've kind of disbanded. We stopped charging the money for it, but it's the What Sizzle and Sizzle Squad, and that was me, Nick Schultz, who you might know, Jack. He's bought a couple things off of you and always picture brain whenever he sees you. But me, Nick Schultz, Big Bacon, Brad Hollister, and John Roy, who is kind of the brains behind the operation, technical wise, of Wrestling Open and Northeast Wrestling. He like does all the videos and all the cutting and all the directing and all the editing and stuff like that. So we had a Patreon group during COVID. And one of the running jokes that keeps going is like, and I like AEW for the most part, but it's every 3 or 4 weeks he's got a big announcement that's going to rock the ages at AEW, and it never really seems to be a huge announcement. Well, that's Chris.
I'm gonna get a haircut. No, okay.
Kind of an inside joke. But they are coming to Hartford on July 29th. AEW Collision is coming to Hartford, and that's going to be one of the, the first month of shows. They're coming to Hartford. And that was
the XL Center?
Yeah, the XL Center. So I read a report the other day that said WWE has an agreement with all of its venues that they cannot co-promote 2 wrestling shows at one time. So while WWE's on the calendar, AEW can't announce a show. And I was like, that's bullshit. That doesn't sound like something they do, except for Monday night, Raw left town, and Tuesday morning, the XL Center announced this show with AEW. So I think that is absolutely what's going on. WWE is not letting them have both of them on the schedule at the same time, which is I don't know. It's kind of almost the first time they've acknowledged them as a company, though it's not acknowledgement. It's certainly, it's something. I think it's noteworthy at least that they're not letting the same arena have them both on the schedule at the same time. So interesting time to be a wrestling fan, certainly.
Yeah, certainly. How many AEW shows have you been to, Matt?
I have been to 2 or 3. John Roy got us tickets after Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor and then didn't hire any of the crew. John Roy got complimentary tickets. So we went to go see him at the one outside of Boston. It's on the BU campus.
Yeah, it's in Lowell, right?
Okay, was that tonight? Was
like UMass Dartmouth?
No,
okay,
Boston. What the heck's the name of that arena? Saugus?
Yeah, the Saugus Arena. But which? All right, they had 2. Which one was it?
It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a show, and I think
they had 2 cards. They had 2 cards there. I was at one.
At one of them. So
I was at one, and Moxley and
Brian.
No.
On Dark, was it Moxley? Moxley had a match on Dark that time, or whatever one, whatever. So I went to that one, and that was shortly after WrestleMania, maybe last year, and then
that's what I went to
one
out there,
in Bridgeport, which was
I was there too.
MJF cut that promo on CM Punk, that very really good promo on CM Punk. Really it was kind of like it was a shoot, and he was talking about his childhood and being bullied for being Jewish growing up. And I was there too. Really cool. I was very drunk for that one also.
And Eric comes back in.
Matthew
and what is Eric
drinking? The champagne of beers.
My absolute favorite beer in the world. And it's funny, I don't do a lot of drinking during the week. I drink, heavily on the weekends when I don't have anything to do, but I don't really do a lot of drinking, but I needed something to do with my hands during this thing. So at the lack of being unprofessional, but I work for an unprofessional radio station and I own an unprofessional wrestling company. So no one's gonna fire me for drinking on the air.
Certainly not us. We encourage it. Fort Mason says CM Punk ain't welcome around here.
Wow.
Took the words right out of my mouth. You don't want me to get on a rant. I'm not sure.
Before you get on a rant about it, let me just say this, Matthew.
Well, I just want to make sure the boss lady ain't watching still, because I will go on a rant. I will freak out. And if she's watching, she's going to end up yelling at me. So I want to make sure
let's avoid it, and let's cut to the chase. I want to see the rumored match at Forbidden Door, which I can't imagine any wrestling fan doesn't want to see, with Will Ospreay against Kenny Omega. But we could see CM Punk against Kenta, and you may not have to worry about CM Punk being around for long if Kenta gets his hands on him.
Oh, and Ford says, yes, I do. He wants to see me go on a rant.
The battle of the go to sleep. That's what that would be, right? Whoever.
Yes, exactly. And I think, Kenta would just, Kenta's going to kill you.
Kenta's going to hit him with some potatoes if that match happens.
Yeah.
So is there shoot hotness there between those two over the usage of that move?
Mm-hmm.
And they were in the same company for a while, or did Kenta get hired in WWE after 2013, after Punk had left?
I think so. I don't think there was any overlap there, was there?
There might not have been, and he would have been in NXT anyway, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's interesting. You know what would be great? CM Punk up with not the go to sleep, but the old school Pepsi plunge, the pedigree off the top. Yeah. That would be that one, man. Take the DTS completely out of it.
Yeah.
I know. CM Punk, he's just an idiot. Where you guys got to start, man? No,
I get where you're coming from, man. I do. I thought he was I don't know, man. It's really hard to sell it. I know we're not going to get too into it. I heard someone sigh, so we don't have to get into it. But he's kind of held that place hostage.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a Jamie watching.
And I like, being his loyalty to Ace Steel and everything, notwithstanding, but that's crazy. And you're really playing with a billionaire's money when you can get daddy to buy you a show on Saturday night so you don't have to see the kids you don't like.
I know.
I mean, what does he have over him? You know what I mean? There's got to be something there.
Well, he's a big draw. I mean, like CM Punk in theory is getting paid an enormous amount of money. He's got to work this contract out. I mean, I think Tony Khan probably wants his money's worth. And like, although I don't think Saturday night's really a great time to be doing a pro wrestling show, especially in the summer.
It's not. So I mean, is he really a big draw?
We'll find out.
Everyone that we're talking about right now, everyone that's here hate the guy. No one likes him. So I mean, come on now, is he really a draw?
We'll see.
Or does everyone want to see him get his ass kicked?
Well, then you turn that into the draw. You know what I mean?
Right. For sure,
it will naturally happen. If people legit are not happy that he's back, it will become very apparent very quickly, and they'll go that direction. We're not, the minds that they have in that company, I believe, are smart. I think Tony Khan's a money mark, but he's hopefully got the right people in charge. I hear Brian is taking more of a creative role in that company right now. They employ a lot of my friends, so I don't want to, speak too badly of the company, but it's a very interesting time to be a wrestling fan. We'll say that again.
All right, and now Joe, a good friend of ours, Joseph Bruin, says CM Punk is overrated. He is.
Man. So
no, Joe and I had a long
New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Phil Brooks, never in the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, Joe Bruin. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's the one and only, a good friend of mine and Jack and of Faces and Heels and Angry Geeks. Joseph and I and Jack, we had a long conversation a couple weeks back about CM Punk. He is overrated. He's a crybaby. If he doesn't get what he wants, he takes his Kool-Aid, he goes home. Look what he did with the WWE belt, for crying out loud. I mean,
that was Punk. That was amazing.
Yeah. But he just needs to go away.
Hey, while we got Joe Broen here, thanks for everything you've done recognizing the people that I don't think would have gotten recognized, the Fred Currys and the Tom Burks. You'll always have a place in my heart, Joe, for honoring Tom Burke the way you have. And Tom Burke, a wrestling historian to the entire business. And I just want to say his name a couple times. Thanks, Joe Broen, for honoring people like that. And I always had a great time at your events. And I met a bunch of cool people, especially walking around with Tom Burke. Got to meet Jim Cornette. He came on a line just to see Tom Burke. Got to see, George Animal Steel before he passed away, and guys like that walking around with Tom Burke. So thank you for honoring people like Fred Curry and Tom Burke and guys like that, Joe Bruin.
All right. Joseph, will I be seeing you this weekend? That's what I want to know. And then here is someone from the past.
Antone Mata?
Yeah.
Punk always spoke about blurring the lines. What if this is all a work? Well, unfortunately, it's not. But you're right. I think he gets off on that kind of thing, but this was just an obnoxious personality flaw for the most part.
Anton, I don't know if you guys know, but that's AJ Cruz. That's a shoot name. You have a big triple threat match to get ready.
I know who AJ Cruz is. I said
Punk, AJ.
That's why I said a blast from the past. We're going back to where we first met, going all the way back to RPW.
Wow, no way. NESW, yes. RPW, man.
Yeah, and where AJ was actually Wrestler of the Year once when we gave him an award.
Wow,
so yeah,
really cool. He was one of the final RPW champions, I do believe.
He was. He
you
was.
Have that strap, AJ? Can we see that belt? That was a beautiful belt.
Yeah, it was. All right. And Joseph says, I'll be there Saturday all day, though. Okay, I'll see you Saturday, my friend. And AJ says, getting ready. And Joseph
Bring a beautiful
says,
family Sunday.
Shout out, yes. God rest Eric, for sure. Nick is in. Jack, what does Nick say?
It says, what do Matt's feet look like? Can you ask?
Matt, what do your feet look like?
Really funny. Whenever we're Googling something, that's like my best friend Nick Schultz. Jack, you've met him a couple times. He's bought some stuff off you. Whenever we're Googling something, we'll just it's really an inside joke, but we'll go CM Punk, Google him, and Nick will write put feet. And we'll just put so it's really a sick joke. But whenever you're Googling something, you put the word feet after and hit Google. And if someone catches you doing that, that's the joke. You know what I mean? That The joke is that we have a foot fetish, but we don't. So that's the joke right there.
It's good stuff.
Jack is unimpressed. Thanks, Nick.
So we're going to see it sounds like a lot of our listeners and viewers we're all going to see each other on Sunday.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Come on by. PvP, Big Daddy Energy. We haven't had a match since April, I believe. I think we were going in April was the last time we got together. So, and that's kind of what we're doing. We're gonna run East Hampton 5 or 6 times a year. Probably go to that Springfield community center where we had the big match last November, where I took care of Alex Cipher in a steel cage wearing this jersey right here. This is what I was wearing that day. That's why I wore it. It says my name on it.
Nice.
And had a pro wrestling cage match. I had a pro wrestling match, and really my whole life led up to that point. I've loved wrestling my entire life. If I cared about anything else in life like I cared about wrestling, I could have been a doctor or a lawyer or at least an ambulance driver.
Well, selfishly, we're glad you got involved in pro wrestling because we've seen you as a ring announcer. We've seen you as a manager. We've seen you as a wrestler in that cage match against Alex Cipher. I mean, you're a man of many skills.
So I'm of the belief that if you love wrestling long enough, eventually it'll pay off. You know what I mean? You've got to, and like good cream, you'll rise to the top. I did a lot of really unsexy jobs in pro wrestling, and especially you mentioned Eric Newton and NEFW and RPW. Those shows were long shows where I was walking 14 miles on my shoes. And when you're ring announcing, you learn quickly that you're not just ring announcing, you're almost stage managing, unless you have a good crew, kind of like what Wrestling Open has and kind of what Blitzkrieg has, or what Blitzkrieg has eventually had, because Blitzkrieg had a lot of those problems in the beginning too. Long shows that were difficult to run because, Jeremy's working on his match and some things get lost in the shuffle. And I guess what I'm trying to say is you learn to become a stage manager in wrestling, because when you get out there, and I learned this the hard way in RPW and NEFW, and you go, introducing first, and nothing happens because the music guy wasn't ready, because the guy wasn't there. It's you with your dick out in the middle of the, right. What I mean? You're the one that has to fill. You're the one they're staring at. So I learned quickly to get the guys in the place, make sure the next match was there, make sure the music was queued up, make sure this, make sure that, make sure the lighting, make sure, this was over here, make sure the 50-50 was ready, all to tighten it up, because I got sick of being a part of 4-hour shows, to be honest. And that was, God bless Eric Newton, but those were some long fucking shows, man.
Now that you think about it, I mean, my crew, we were there at 5, setting up our camera, leaving so the RPW staff could have their meeting, coming back in. We were there for like 5 until at least midnight.
Oh yeah,
it was crazy.
And
but they were fun, and like Joseph said, Eric's shows were fun. But man, sometimes 5 hours or more, long night.
That's what Justin and I always said when we were running Western Mass Wrestling. That's what me and Sexy Jesus, to pull back the curtain. That's what me and Hammer Tunis. That was always our philosophy. Not every show has to be WrestleMania. Our favorite show in the world is 4 and 2. 4 matches, intermission, 2 matches. Go the fuck home. See you next time. Because if you leave them wanting more, they'll be back. And that was, and I think Blitzkrieg Pro is one of the biggest, prettiest things going on today. But there were some of those problems in the beginning, 12, 14 matches, and it's just too much. I don't know anyone who likes that much wrestling. And that's why people people like wrestling. I'm sure it didn't offend as many people as it offended me and being a part of the show. But I don't need a 14-match card, man. 4 and 2. 4 matches, intermission, 2 matches, 2.5 hours. See you next time, man.
Well, the shows that we had at Whirly Ball were a few hours shorter, if I recall.
Yeah, well, those were we on to Blitzkrieg at that point, or are we talking RPW?
No, we're still talking RPW. We were still RPW, but I mean, of course, we were at we'll get to Nick's question in a second. We were in a much, much smaller venue.
I don't have a
if you remember. What's the matter?
I don't have a foot fetish. It's just a joke.
You just
The farthest thing from a foot fetish, I promise. It's just funny when you're Googling something to write the word feet afterwards, and then if somebody catches you doing it, you actually go, "Oh no, I didn't mean."
Can you moonwalk?
You just noticed that now?
Because I told you the camera's here and my monitor's over here, and I didn't want to do the whole podcast looking sideways like this, so I haven't been watching you guys at all. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, the whirly ball shows were actually towards the end of that thing, and
yeah, it was.
I think a lot of those times, man, because Eric wasn't doing so well towards the end, he would take off, and we would trim up shows a little bit. Eric would come for the beginning, kind of make sure the house was all take, and then like his wife would kind of take over. Jeremy Leary was kind of running some of those shows towards the end, which kind of, he got the blessing to continue on and created Us Versus Them Wrestling. A lot of people don't remember that. Then we got sued by a clothing company and changed the name.
I remember. Yeah.
Like a year or so after the inception.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then Jeremy, same thing. Those just tended to be longer shows because he had a lot of things. But now he runs more regularly. He's got a better feel for it. Jeremy, I think, is a really good promoter. But as much as I put all these other guys over, no one's as good as running a tight show with long-term storytelling, which is now you're starting to see on the big shows on WWE. Triple H said it after Mania. You're going to have to get used to folks to not getting your instant payoff. These are long-term storytellings, and that has been me and Justin's philosophy on pro wrestling for 10 years now.
All right, we have some questions. Yeah. First, referee Bill says he has nice feet. Nick says, what's your perfect setup for a show?
Perfect setup. Do you mean card wise, Nick, or do you mean physically? Like, what's the best setup for a show? Card wise, come out hot, get a tag team match in there. Maybe the women to either close off the first half or start off the second half. And then your big main. I know I only listed 4 or 5 things. I also don't mind a warm-up show, because a warm-up match to get people that came to help out. You know what I mean? So that is my, that's the caveat of a 6-match card. I don't mind a pre-show match because a lot of people come and a lot of people help out, and it's good to get them, looks, and it's good to get them on the card, I believe.
All right.
And Stafford says, let's get back to the foot thing.
This part of it, we're all in on the joke. This is great. Like, me and Nick are very happy that more people.
What are you doing?
Me and Nick are happy that more people are in on this foot joke. So I'm okay with it.
So I don't think it's really weird now, especially by bringing up Eric and RPW and everything. And we had Jeremy on, and I talked to some other people as well, and it's just bizarre to me because I've been doing what I do. We just had our 10th year going on 11-year anniversary, and I knew Jack for 10 years now. That means I knew you for like 10 and a half years. We've been acquaintances.
Yeah, you guys were coming to those shows, and I got my first one. I moved back from New York City in June of 2012, and immediately I grew up with Chris Camaro, who was running those shows with him, and Mark Sterling, Mark Sterling was also. Yeah. We all kind of grew up together. Sarat Makazi, who's Sasha Banks' husband, like we were all kind of this. So I came back from New York City and was a little down because I was bummed to leave New York City, but it was also nice to buy a beer for $2 and not $25. And I remember, one of the first things I did when I got back from New York City is I was over at Powers in West Springfield, and it's just a little dive bar with a little Shih Tzu outside or whatever. So I ordered a round for me. I ordered 4 beers, a couple martinis, some drinks for these girls, this for that, and another like couple shots. And I had $92 in my hand, fully prepared to spend it all. And the bartender goes, "That'll be $26." And I was like, "Here's 40. Yeah, it's good to be home." So I moved back from New York City, and it was nice to like feel a breeze because I was living in Times Square. Like I was living on 48th and 8th. I worked at Caroline's Comedy Club. I lived above a bar called Hurley's outside the M&M store. I didn't see the stars or feel a breeze or anything for like the 3 or 4 years I was living there, and it was good to be back home. I was a little bummed though, because I didn't think I was going to be performing. So Chris Camaro invited me over, and within a couple shows, I had taken over the ring announcer position from their ring announcer at the time. And then it just sort of happened, man. I've been doing this, 10, 12 years now, which is really crazy, and got really involved with Hammer Tunis. He took over New Age Old Time Wrestling from Richard Blake, speaking of terrible wrestling shows. And we kind of were the brainstorming sessions for that, along with Brad Hollister and now Nick Schultz and a handful of other guys. But I've been really, really intertwined with PvP, and we ran Western Mass Wrestling all together and had those two, battle each other for the better part of the 2 years before COVID, and then came back and instead of just going right into that cage match, we set it back up for another year. Like I said, we're really good at long-term storytelling. I forget what your initial question was.
I was just like, it just flabbergasts me that how many years it's been since I've been acquainted with so many cool people in my life. I'm so blessed.
It just sort of happens. It just sort of happens that it becomes 10 years, 12 years, but it doesn't matter because Jack's still fucking 10 times more famous than any of us shitbags. So.
All right. Referee Bill, what advice would you give someone who's thinking of being a ring announcer? Feet.
Thanks. So show them toes, I guess. Find the promoter, show them, flash those toes at them, and if you got some nice ankles, you're in. I would, because the best advice to get into wrestling at all is show up and help. You know what I mean? Show up and help, then go find a school, even if you're only going to be a ring announcer, because if they see that you're coming to work out, even if you go to the school, say you went to Test of Strength and talked to Slick and said, I only want to be a ring announcer, but I'm here to learn pro wrestling. I'm here to be able to take a bump. I'm here to do this. I'm here to do that. I'm here to help out on Saturdays and Sundays when you need me. Just being there is a huge step up. Also, there's other opportunities. There's local basketball games. There's, the Western Mass Zombies that run around here. There's little sports teams. There's opportunities to get in front of a microphone. I have been, since I left high school and started my job at Six Flags, I have made every single dollar in this life talking into a microphone. I decided a long time ago, and I've been hungry and I've been poor and I've been starving, and I still am. I still live, paycheck to paycheck, and I'm on the #1 rated radio show in Hartford, Connecticut right now. 3 to 7, it's Ryan Roberts, Matthew James, WMRQ Radio 104.1. My advice is to do everything. Do everything you can in wrestling, and do everything that you can outside of wrestling, whether it's calling a hockey game, calling a baseball game, calling a basketball game, announcing bingo. Go announce fucking bingo. Start a trivia night. Do anything hours in front of a microphone besides stand-up, because that's a waste of energy. Hours in front of
that was a question that we had from Ford. Do any stand-up.
Hours in front of a microphone are hard. I think I would be good at helping someone write stand-up. I don't have the energy to do stand-up at this point. I really don't. I have a comedy hypnosis show that was very popular on the college and corporate market, and that was my release because I got to do a little bit of stand-up beforehand. I don't think I'd be good at stand-up. I think I'm very funny, and I think I have a great delivery, but I think I would be better helping round the corners off somebody else doing stand-up. You know what I mean? But no. Have I done stand-up? Yes. Has it gone good? No, not at all.
Yeah, I think there's something about you that I've always admired, is that you're just always very personable, genuine, and funny. Like, I've never seen you, even in passing. I saw you the other night coming out of Blitzkrieg and just had a really quick exchange with you, but I always find myself smiling and laughing when I talk to you.
We have hit them, get them coming and going. It's like that old Seinfeld thing, leave them happy, that Costanza would do. You know what I mean? You came out of Blitzkrieg, you said something to me, I said something to you, I said something funny, and then we both fucked off. You know what I mean? It was great. There's Jack. Good to see Jack, and I'll see him again. We didn't overstay our welcome. We didn't do anything. We just told our little jokes, and I went inside. And I went my way, and you went your way. I asked if you made.
We got 30 seconds really quick for Contropolis Mass once again, and we'll be right back.
Superhero legend Lou Ferrigno and more at Altered Reality Entertainment's newest pop culture convention, Contropolis, Massachusetts. Coming to the Royal Plaza Trade Center in Marlborough, June 16th to the 18th, 2023. Meet stars from stage and screen, wrestling ring, and comic book page. Hear their amazing stories, get autographs and photos, and shop from top vendors. Don't miss the epic cosplay contest. Download the Altered Reality Entertainment app for exciting updates. Presented by Cardi's Furniture and Mattresses. Visit ContropolisMA.com for tickets. Save $5 with code SOCIAL5.
Now, once again, Jake the Snake Roberts, Big Papa Pump, the Honky Tonk Man, and the Godfather will all be there this weekend, not to mention the Angry Geeks. I got to say that. I got to plug us. I got to plug our panel. I have to, because we're going to be live with swag, giving stuff away. Go there. Come, say hi, and leave me messages for Jack. Go meet all the celebrities. It's going to be a good time Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. And if you're up there, go to the con, then go to Matt's show. Have a full weekend. Celebrate Dad. Bring him to the convention, then bring him to wrestling. You can't beat that. Perfect Father's Day weekend. Wrestling and comic books. You can't beat that. Can't beat it at all.
All right.
Nothing.
Well, we're going to be looking forward to hearing your reports from Contropolis, Lewis. But
you're going to see a bunch of videos.
To focus on our guest for a moment, what I was saying before, and I really mean this, is that I always enjoy seeing you. Like when I went to Blitzkrieg Pro, I'll never forget man, I knew Jeremy a little bit, but like hearing you, I was like, whoa, like they got this really good ring announcer who's funny and engaging and interesting. Like it really does add to the show, because I don't want to name names. And I'm not even just saying Blitzkrieg, but there have been people who came after you who didn't do it the same. And it really did make a difference in the all around package. Even my son, who's now he's 16 and cool, but even a couple years prior to that, he would come to the shows and he would always notice and make comments about people like yourself, about everybody. He always noticed like John James, like he loves John James.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, like I think it's a big deal. I don't know if you guys always get the shine that you should, but I just want to let you know that I've always appreciated you.
Oh, I really first of all, thank you. That's high praise coming from Jack. I always tried to do this string of consciousness type thing and I never really was a straight up ring announcer. I always like to think of myself as more of a host, because I was always walking around when I saw people, and it just comes from Six Flags really trained me well as far as guest services and company, you know what I mean? Like outreach and stuff like that. So when I saw people standing, I would bring them chairs, or if I saw people, I'd always try to find people chairs, or I'd ask how they were doing and stuff like that. And then I'd get up there and I'd do the live reads, you know what I mean? Like Lewis just did. And, but I throw a little joke on and things like that. And you're right. And I'm not to toot my own horn, because I'm only cocky and I'm only really proud of being funny. My ability to be funny and quick and witty and sarcastic, but with a charm where I don't get punched in the face. You know what I mean? I get away with saying some really harsh things, but I do it with a wink and a twinkle in my eye, where you have to have, it's a very New England type delivery, you know what I mean, where you can say those things but it gets laughed off and we're on to the next thing. And you're right, I've seen people try it and it's just not, you gotta have the charm that comes with it. And I hate to sit here and say, oh, very charming and blah blah blah, but I am comfortable in gloating about my ability to be funny and quick-witted and stuff like that. And I know that comes off very douchey, but I understand what you're saying, and I understand the people who have tried to do that, and it just fucking falls flat, man.
That's totally real. I mean, that's not even being cocky. That's the truth. It really truly is. There is nothing wrong with saying that, because I've got a good friend, Joey. He's one of the funniest people I know. He's occasionally been part of these shows and made comments. He's the same way. The stuff he gets away with saying to people, I'm like, dude, like, are you going to get your ass kicked? And more importantly, mine, because I'm standing next to you. But you're the same, like I think, like, I don't think I've ever even thought about being offended by anything you've said. And I've never seen anybody who seemed offended. But there are others who try to do the same thing.
I agree 100%. Now, as I was typing Matt's new name, the words were coming out of his mouth. I was like, "Oh, okay," and it was perfect. I mean, the way Jack.
That's part of the, you have to be aware. That's part of the awareness. And I am very aware of what I'm saying and when I'm saying it, and how different types of people, not just people as a broad stroke, different types of people will take how I'm saying. And if I think I might have offended someone, you got to go. First of all, you have to think, did I go too far? And if you think that you didn't, give them the wink and the nod and acknowledge that. Me and Skylar are a perfect example. The things I say that she like, but she knows that I'm saying it in such a way, because Skylar's like a very progressive, but like so am I. So she knows that when I'm saying these things, I'm not explaining it exactly right. But Skylar and I, you guys have had her on, and she's kind of talked about our love-hate relationship, and it's really kind of an example of the things you can say and the things you can get away with. But people need to know that you have a good heart, and you are progressive, and you're for the rights of everybody, and that's important. And if that's the way you live your life and tell a couple jokes, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, well, I remember specifically when I saw you, I think it was you who made the announcement, if I'm not mistaken, but it was at the beginning of one of the Blitzkrieg shows. And it was the way you delivered the message was as important as the message, where it was basically like an anti-hate speech. And the way you said it was sort of insinuated like, hey, there's no hate here, and we'll boot your ass out if you want to talk shit. And I don't remember the exact way you said it, but it was different than somebody reading off a card and saying those same words that would have had a totally different impact.
Yeah, because you have to, I don't know, you have to put it in your own words, which I think I'm good at, taking a sheet of paper and taking those things. And I do it on the radio show all the time. And hopefully you guys will let me plug that in a couple seconds. But you have to put it in your own words. And there's going to be bigots, and there's going to be these people in the audience, but you also have their money. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying you should placate to the bigots just because you have their money, but you also can't look them in the eye and call them bigots. And maybe you can, but I got a business to run here also. You know what I mean? So I want you to buy the tickets, but I'd also like if you weren't a gross bigot.
Right. Just be a decent human being. It's not that much to ask.
Matt, it's just, I don't know if you could say it's talent. I'm not sure if it's personality, but to make a joke, crack a joke, and be sarcastic about it, excuse me, and people know that you're actually joking with them. I don't know if it is a talent, but I know exactly where you're coming from. You
I think
know?
It helps in this region. I've traveled the world. I've traveled the country more than the world, but it really helps. New England is very sarcastic, and it's really easy to de-escalate a tough situation with a joke. I've been in arguments at a bar where either I was at trivia or something, and like before you know it, we're having a beer together because someone said a smart ass thing and someone did this and someone de-escalated the situation. New Englanders, I think, are easy like that. We're tough, but there's also the sarcasm, and I think it comes from being so bitterly fucking cold 6 months out of the year that it really fine-tuned our personality here in the Northeast. Sarcasm is a language up here in New England.
It is. I mean, Jack had seen me. I got to choose my words carefully right now because he's going to know exactly where I'm. Jack had seen me doing my thing, and I was not only tearing the other person apart that was on the mic, but tearing the person's guests apart as well, because they were just all. See, Jack knows exactly what I'm talking about right now.
Masterfully done.
Thank you. And it was because, not because I was being douchey or mean, it was just because it needed to be done. If that makes sense to you.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. You pick your battles pretty well. I'll say you talk over people, but you pick your battles pretty well, and that's important.
Oh, well, thank you, Jack. No. Thank you. Mason comes in and says,
Fort Mason says my pronouns are you ins and y'all.
All right. Great. Oh man, we didn't get to talk about. Well, anyway, Big Daddy
no.
Energy this Sunday. We didn't get to talk about the Beast Wars movie that I saw, but
well, can you give
really
us
quick?
Give us a couple sentences. Tell us what you think, because I got high hopes.
It's Transformers exhibition exposition. It's Transformers exhibition in disguise. The story keeps getting retold over and over again. There's a point where you see the beginning, you see Optimus Primal, you get their story, right? An hour later, they meet the main characters, and the main character goes, "So what's your deal?" And then they go back into the exposition of exactly Optimus Primal's story and where he came from. And I'm like, we just fucking saw the movie a half hour ago. I know where they're coming from. So they really beat you over the horse with it. There's no Hollywood in general recently. There's no fine points. Everything's kind of just brushed with in big broad strokes, and they hand feed everything to you. And I have to say that the CGI is a little bit of dog shit.
Wow, really? They can't get that right?
It's one of those things where when they're in daytime, it almost looks choppy. And there's a point where one of the human characters, in no spoilers, wears a almost Iron Man type nanotechnology glove. And Trinity, not Trinity, what the heck's his name? The 911, the Porsche one. The
Jazz.
No, he shows he's a couple different versions of him, whatever. Mirage, sorry, jeez, I'm crow. Mirage throws this piece of nanotech on him, and me and Nick Schultz are watching it on his hand, and we're just like, that looks terrible. So hopefully they fix that before it shows up on streaming, which is what they tend to do now. Same thing when I saw Ant-Man Quantumania. As soon as they went in the quantum realm, I was like, oh no, it's gonna look like this the rest of the movie. And it looked terrible, and now it's on Disney Plus, and they really beefed up. They've really done like a different beta, a different version of it. It's like Quantumania.
My biggest gripe. I know we only have 3 minutes, and I want you to plug everything. But my biggest gripes about Ant-Man Quantumania was where June was like, "My God, you're studying the quantum burst. Why are you doing it?" How come at the end of the second one she was helping him?
Oh yeah, no. There's a lot of problems with Michelle Pfeiffer's character in the whole thing, but that's another story for another time. Go see Beast Wars. I keep calling it Beast Wars. Go see it, but there's a lot of exposition, and the CGI is not there yet. Much like Mark Hamill the first time he came back in Mandalorian, they kind of had to go through a couple different versions for Disney Plus before he looked, not like the Uncanny Valley ghost.
Matt, please tell everyone where they can find you on social media, where they can provide a PVV and about the show this weekend.
PvP, Big Daddy Energy this Sunday. Got a triple threat main event for the Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Scotty Wild, AJ Cruz, and Hammer Tunis. Big Juicy is facing her belt. You can catch me every weekday on WMRQ Radio 104.1, 3 to 7 p.m. I'm doing a show where it's me and my comedy partner, Ryan Roberts, and we're just lampooning life, lampooning the news in between the songs, and the ratings are going really well. So the more eyes and ears we have on that would be great. We're just voted the #1 radio personalities in Connecticut by the Hartford Current Readers Poll, and things are going well. Big Daddy Energy, Matthew Jamesia on Facebook and Instagram, and that's it. And Jack Purcell is more famous than all of us.
Jack, where can everyone find you and get some fantastic artwork?
Yeah, you can find me at Jack Purcell Inc. on Facebook and Instagram. I am working on a cool project called Fugitive on the Run for Backyard Games. So if you go over to Backyard Games 1 on Instagram, check them out. There's some cool artwork. There's a really cool Bigfoot drawing that they just posted the pencil artwork for. So that's kind of fun if you want to check that out. Commissions are always available, so hit me up. I will be appearing at Plastic City Comic-Con coming up. I'll be talking about that more during the summer. And also, just a quick plug, We really appreciate you, Matthew James. Thank you for being on tonight, because really you're awesome. And looking forward to seeing you on Father's Day. Next week, we have Mother Endless as our guest.
Cool.
The following week, on a special Wednesday edition, is Bobby Buffet is going to be here. Eat. If you have Apple TV Plus, make sure you check out Monster Factory if you want to get to know this guy. He's awesome in the ring. Really cool dude. And then we got to find Lewis Perry this weekend. Where?
You can find me here. Hi! You have been watching The Angry Geek Show on Pod TV. Visit our website today. And for guest bookings, email us at theangrygeekshow@gmail.com today.